habits, lifestyle that go against the grain as far as God is concerned. But God has patience, and He gives us another opportunities all the time to change our ways. In other words, God has patience. He has patience for us and gives us an opportunity to change. So therefore, we need to get accustomed to on God to help us to change in a direction to where He wants us to go. I hope I'm making good sense about this. One has, I need to bring, I would say a client that comes to my house once in a while, or 3 days a week. And we go through a routine, exercise routine. And he wants to lose about 50 pounds. He wants to lose it overnight. He doesn't want to wait 4 or 5 years like it took him to gain all that weight. He wants it overnight. Not wanting to wait. But we want God to wait on us to change our ways. We're having a problem with that type of wait, do we? God waits on us to change our ways, and He gives us ample opportunity.
Yes,
but it's left up to us. We're not going to change overnight, but perseverance will allow us to work on it and change. You can't have perseverance without having patience, which goes to our lesson, Esther's banquets. Now, on our first page of our lesson, 61, it says Esther's banquets. And I want to give a topic to this lesson. Topic for this lesson. Perseverance brings about deliverance. Perseverance brings about deliverance. Okay? Esther was persevere in her drive to talk to the king to free her people. And on the other hand, Haman had talked with his wife and other associates to build gallows for Mordecai because he couldn't stand Mordecai at all. Why? Because Mordecai did not give him the honor that he thought he deserved. So therefore, it behooves us to be careful as to how we try to entangle or set traps for our sisters and brothers.
Right.
Not necessarily sisters and brothers in the church,
Right.
but our sisters and brothers out there in the world.
Yes, sir.
If I don't go according to how you want me to go, then I don't have any use for you. Haman had a problem. was granted, he was the advisor to the king. King had offered him, or had placed him in esteem, gave him wealth, prestige. And sometimes that spoils a person. Wealth, prestige. We have some people like that in the church, unfortunately. Some people have gotten to a certain level in life where, as they don't recognize some of the people with whom they attended school with. People who have not really acquired what he or she has acquired, therefore, they are looked down upon. But what we need to do is be worried about living the life that Christ died for us to live. Not to worry about what materialistic accomplishments others have acquired or not have acquired. And to live a life that's going to help save your sisters and brothers like Esther, going to save her family. Now, in this lesson, King Herod kept asking Esther, because he wanted her to be his queen. He had many other candidates, I would say, that he had auditioned for queen. Apparently, he wasn't happy with those. He wanted Esther. And Esther wasn't that easy to be taken over. To be wooed. He couldn't woo her like he wooed the rest of his candidates. And that made him more eager to pursue her. But she had patience and had her patience cause the king to have patience because he wanted her as his queen. And Mordecai told Esther, or commanded, so to speak, Esther, to make sure she let the king know what she had requested, or what she was requesting of him. And our lesson previously tells us that she was told to keep it a secret until she got in a position where it would benefit her people to tell the king. And the king was astonished as to why she would not tell him what she requested, what she wanted from him. There's a time to talk, yes, converse, yes, and there's a time to just keep our mouths closed. Right. So when the time came, the appropriate time came, Esther decided she would tell the king. But before that happened, she made the king know that she was interested in him, per se, by parading in front of his royal palace. She said, look, I'm ready to talk with you, or talk to you concerning my request. And the king kept asking me, why you keep putting it off? Paraphrase, why you keep putting it off? Why don't you tell me? But the time wasn't right for her to do it. There's a time for everything. And we have to make sure that we use our time wisely and appropriately in order for the right perspective effect will come out of it. And see, Esther had two banquets. First banquet, and it said entailed the banquet consisted of wine and food. And I'm thinking that why was the banquet necessary? Is it that Queen Esther wanted to get the king and his cohorts inebriated? So whenever she asked gave him her request, that he'd be more inclined to go along. You know, a lot of times when people get to drinking, they're the most honest people when they're drinking. They'll say stuff they wouldn't say when they're sober. And so perhaps Esther felt that once you get a little, I'm just imagining. I'm just. Yeah. So he had two banquets. On the second banquet, and what was the purpose of the banquet? What was the purpose of the banquet? Anybody know? Like I think the purpose of the banquet was to get him to finally tell him what she requested. And he was wondering why she go to such extremes and come before him to ask him that anyway, because it was surely decreed that anyone who comes to him less than being without being invited, meant sure death. He knew that it would have to be something very important for her to risk her life like that. But nonetheless, he parted her with seven. So it was okay. And that's how badly he wanted her to be his queen. And previously, the previous queens had been not treated as well as Queen Esther. Now, he may have excommunicated them. You may have had them beheaded. You may have had them hanged. We don't know. I don't know. I couldn't find any lesson as to what happened to them. But they weren't treated as nicely as Esther was treated. So therefore, Queen Esther was in a position to free her people, save them from destruction, as Haman wanted to be done. And so why did the queen let him know the king of her will be a more convenient time for her in the appropriate time? And what type of attitude of disrespect did she display in asking the king to bless her in her request? What type of attitude did she have? You know, going before the king, one has to be careful as to what type of attitude they had, because it could mean their death. Although she had this request to the king, without being invited, she still showed respect for the king. You see, if you will, if it pleases the king. A lot of times when we are given the opportunity to speak to someone concerning a certain thing, even when we get our children to straighten up after being after misbehavior. There's a way to approach your children. There's a way to approach someone with whom you want to converse with. Not dogmatically, but in a humble way to admonish each other.
Right.
In the spirit of meekness. She was a very meek. She had so much quality, so much in her character that the king really noticed it. And therefore, he treated her differently because she was different. She was guided by the providence of God to do what she did. Tell our people, well, that wasn't a right thing to do. He didn't say anything about them marrying each other and all that kind of stuff. But it was through the providence of God that she did what she did. And we all, as the preacher said yesterday, we all have our faults, and none of us is perfect. Perfect. Right. Therefore, God lets us do a lot of things. Allows us to do a lot of things because of his love for us, his undying love for us, his agape love for us. We don't deserve it, but God gives it to us. Yes. Maybe the king didn't deserve the respect he got from Esther, but she gave him that respect. Now, on the other hand, Haman was all puffed up because the king, he was the king's advisor. The king had given him possession, made him his top-notch boy, so to speak. And he was all puffed up with pride. And he wanted people to really acknowledge him as being Mr. So-and-so, Mr. Big Shot Man. Mordecai didn't see it that way. Mordecai did not, he wasn't in good favor with Haman. And Haman was out to get it. Sometimes we be out to get somebody that did things to us or didn't do things we thought they should have done. How the saying goes, dig a ditch for somebody else, you may fall in the ditch yourself. So we're not to dig ditches for each other, but to build bridges for each other. To help us get across to the other side. The other side, we know, it's the kingdom of heaven. We're not to condemn, but we are to convert. What did the Esther do to get the king's attention? As he camped out in front of his palace every so long and paraded back and forth so he could see her. Why did she? Is that what she did? Did she parade across back and forth his palace so he can see her? His palace so he can see her. And say, I got to have her. I don't care what it is that she requested. Even up to half of my kingdom, she's going to have it. Is that what convinced him? Wait.
She positioned herself to where he could see her. And he makes sure he can see her. And by being able to see her, then, therefore we can focus in on her and then wonder maybe why, give an opportunity to be invited to him because she just couldn't walk up to him. So in other words, hear this word again, position herself to be able to where he can see her, to invite her to come to him, through the process of it. She knew what the process was, if she could come to him, in any kind of way. So she had positioned herself Christian, y'all, this is something we need to learn right here. Okay? Position ourselves. You know, that just opened up the road right there. Ooh, what a thought process. God allows us to position ourselves by coming to Him to be saved. Oh my God. And He don't pick and choose who can position themselves. He allows us to choose if we want to come to Him. Okay?